Welcome to Wales for rounds 7, 8 and 9 of the 2012 Mazda Racing Mark3 Cup, the top flight series for all Mazda racers in the UK. Once again, a healthy grid of drivers from across the country, ready and waiting for a weekend full of some serious racing. During the last round at Snetterton, Jordan Stilps staked his claim as one of the best Mazda races, taking victory in race 1 of the weekend. But he got swamped at the start of race 2, resulting in some contact.
And they're going through turn 1, a big slide from Jordan, I think, and yes, he is completely sideways on the exit of that turn. Oh, Jordan, I think, just about held onto it. No, there he is. He's gone way back in the field.
Had a brilliant first race, won that race, come into the second race, started pole, got pushed off at the first corner, ran wide, came back on circuit for the second corner, got pushed wide again. A really tough race, caught myself back up with 4th place, I think it was, 4th or 5th place. Aquaplane across the circuit, went straight off and was just spinning, but it's really like mossy, so I couldn't get back on the circuit. It took me quite a few wheel spins and fails to get back on. I got back on and yeah, really hard weekend.
Success once again went to championship leader Chrissy Palmer, showing great car control in the slippery conditions and later in the dry.
I mean, it was really challenging and there was puddles everywhere. The cars were really treacherous. I mean, you made one little mistake and you were definitely going off. The tyres were a little bit different from last year, so that made it a little bit more challenging again because we were trying to get used to a different tyre and the amount of grip it had compared to last year. But other than that, it was a really good weekend and really enjoyed it.
But with experienced drivers here like Paul Sheard snapping at the youngsters' heels, anything could happen in Anglesey. This facility in North Wales might be far from civilization. In fact, I'm sure it's the furthest west you could go before dropping off a cliff edge. But it is one of the best circuits in the UK. So let's have a look at this international circuit from inside the car.
2.1 miles, and it's Aaron Lloyd who is our taxi driver around this circuit, the Anglesey International, as Nat said. This is turn 1, which is normally the last turn on the circuit, but the start-finish straight here is under reconstruction, and therefore we're using a different start-finish straight. This is normally turn 1, but turn 2 for the Mazdas this weekend, and we head towards the banking. A beautifully banked hairpin turn means you can carry much more speed than you expect through there, then run wide. It sort of spits you onto the curb, and Aaron uses the curb and a little bit more. We're sitting on his wing mirror. Now it's super fast around the back end of the circuit. 2 very fast right-hand turns. That one just a little dab and a lift. This next one flat out as we head. We've got the sea to our left and the work buildings on our left as well. This is a more convincing corner school, and now plummet going uphill towards Rocket. The left-hand turn, get it slowed down because it's over the brow of the hill, the car goes light. The second part of Rocket is a hairpin turn, late apex. Make sure it's nice and tidy because pretty much you're accelerating now all the way through Peel. Just a little bit of a break, the nose dives. Aaron missing the apex there, gets a little bit of a slide on. Should be running that exit curb as well. Now going back downhill. The cut away would be to the right there, which is corkscrew. This is Siemens, however, and then onto Tom Price straight, the famous Welsh racing star, Formula 1 star from the 70s. And now heading towards the hairpin, the final turn of the International GP loop here. Again, Aaron just missing the apex slightly. Very difficult to outbrake yourself there because you built up so much speed, and it's a little bit uphill as well. We head back down towards the start-finish straight. That's a lap.
Pole position for the first race went to Chrissy Palmer by half a second. What better way to start the weekend?
Yeah, it was a brilliant qualifying session. Just went out there and put my head down. Brilliant, couldn't have asked for any more out of the car and the team. Just great, really.
In the new MX150R races, it was Kevin Dengate who took the victories after some entertaining battles with his rival Jonathan Blake. After the break, we'll have all the action from the 3 races here in Wales, so don't go away. Welcome back to Anglesey for the first race of the weekend from the Mark 3s. I'm going to hand you straight over to Ben to talk you through the grids.
Thanks very much, Nat. On pole position then, Chrissy Palmer by half a second over Jordan Stilp. Adam Gore third, Luke Herbert. Matthew Davis, a great qualifying session in fifth, ahead of Paul Sheard. And on Price and Simon Goddard round out the top 8 positions. Cars are formed up on the grid, the lights go out and we are underway and racing here at Anglesey. Chrissy Palmer on the inside has got the match of Jordan Stilp, who's had a great start, that front row really getting good bite. The rest of them all fighting their way through. Paul Sheard we ride on board with, looking over his right shoulder, and he's made a pretty good start. Yes, he has, just sitting behind Adam Gore, so he's made up one from his starting position into the banking for the first time, and that's the number 10 car of Chris Lloyd making up a position as well, ahead of the 19 car of David Chapman. Those two very much in a battle of their own. Luke Herbert we're on board with here, running the curve through the back section of turns. We've got Paul Sheard ahead of us, who I think's just made a move on Adam Gore, so Sheardy up to another position, and Luke Herbert's going to try and make it 3 wide. Dangerous idea that from Luke. Sheard on the inside, Adam Gore brakes very, very early and invites Luke up the inside, but it turns into the outside for the second part of Rocket. He can't find a way past for the moment. All of this scrapping is allowing Palmer and Stilp out front to disappear. Gore looks up the inside, but Sheardy's definitely got it covered. In fact, Gore makes a mistake, under brakes, and that invites and lets Luke Herbert pass. Luke Herbert now trying to find a way past Sheard, but he's on the wrong side of the circuit through Siemens and therefore cannot make that move stick. Compromises his exit. Here comes Adam Gore once again. The wind really playing havoc with these Mark IIIs and the slipstream becoming even more important around this circuit. Sheard covers the inside line, a bit of a dive, oh, and a big bit of contact there from then on Price, and that could be day done. Price was such a star at Snetterton in the wet conditions, fighting with the Ma5da MX5's best, but I think that's day done, at least for this first race. Herbert goes to the outside on the racing line. Paul Sheard defending on the inside. Runs the curve on the exit. Now we head towards turn 1, which is turn 2, confusingly, this weekend. Almost flat out here. Trying to carry the speed and momentum into the hairpin. A good place to dive up the inside, although a conventional racing line isn't necessarily the fastest way because you have the banking to help the nose of the car into that turn. Now we head round the back of the circuit. It's Sheard ahead of Herbert, and then Gore looks like he's going to lose the toe, and as soon as you lose the toe, then it's day done, at least for that battle, unless something drastic happens ahead. Chrissy Palmer has disappeared from Jordan Stilp, so Stilp is second now, but on his own, side by side for third. Sheard on the inside, Herbert on the outside. Sheard just brakes a little bit later, but goes too deep. Is he going to cover the inside line? Yes, he will cover the inside line. Luke can't turn in, and Sheard, with all of that experience, just holds on to the position. But has Herbert got the momentum? Yes, he has. He was helped out by Adam Gore, and look how close they are. The onboard pictures graphically showing just how close the cars get, and the doors are, well, they're marginally thicker in these than they are in the Mark 1s. You're pretty much sitting on the door, so it's all changed then. Herbert ahead of Sheard. Gore now trying to find a way past Sheard. He's got back into that battle thanks to those two making that mistake at Rocket, and he's got rubber all over the front of the car. Oh, locks the rears under braking. Carries good speed through the corner, but may run wide just a little bit. Meanwhile, side by side, Sheard just desperately trying to tuck into the slipstream, but he's too close and therefore he's stuck on the inside. Can he dive up the inside on the brakes? A little bit later, and he takes the position back. Good stuff, a third position in the race this. Paul Sheard running one of the most successful teams in the Mark III Cup, including championship leader Chrissy Palmer. Squeal as the Kumos complain about the amount of work they're being asked to do. The weather here, beautiful sunshine, but such strong winds that it's almost cooling down the tarmac, making it very different from the 2 days testing. It was not particularly nice weather on the Friday, and then Saturday, where they qualified in the Mark III Cup, taking the format of a British touring car weekend now. Completely different conditions to today. Up towards Rocket they go. Like catching Jordan Stilp there as we turn our attention towards Chapman and Lloyd. Chapman ahead of Lloyd in the similar livery car to Paul Sheard's car, the Safety Devices sponsored 19 machine, leading the, I think it's one of the only Belindi cars that's a Mark 3 10 car. Oh, damage to the rear end as well, so he's had a bit of an assault from someone. And this is the battle for just outside the top 10. Back on board with Luke Herbert. Into the hairpin we go. Oh, and there's a mistake there from Jordan Still. Jordan Still's being swallowed up. Is that a problem? I think it may well be. Chapman and Lord once again go through the hairpin. But where is Jordan Still? Has he pulled into the pits? Has he retired out of the race? It allows Sheard up to second. There he is. We didn't see whether he made a mistake or whether his car is expiring. It's almost looks like it's, yeah, it is puffing smoke. So definitely problems up. And round goes Jamie Ingram at the back of the circuit there. Big fast spin. He was involved with Enon Price earlier on in the race. So now this is the battle for second position. Chrissy Palmer out on his own. No catching him, but Sheard and Herbert in each other's slipstreams. Luke just a little bit too aggressive with the steering wheel, pitching the car in, the back end wanting to step out. The SRC salvage sponsored car. It's a place where I've been a few times to get parts for my road car, my various road cars. And once again, Herbert goes to the racing line, the outside line, but Sheard's on the inside and carries more momentum into the turn and therefore holds on to that second position. And it looks like Gore is now actually having to fight with Matthew Davis behind, and instead of focusing on trying to get up into the podium, he's having to worry about dropping another position. Luke Herbert running in with his father, the sort of thing they've been doing all through their racing lives. Karting, a very successful karter was Luke in TKM, and now racing in the Mazda Mark 3 Championship. He raced in both championships last year, the Mark 1s and the Mark 3s, but focusing his time now on the Mark 3 category. This is almost the pièce de résistance of the Mark 3 or the Mazda Championship. This is the one to win. And we look further back down, the 78 car, yet another Paul Sheard run machine, and that's Aaron Lloyd, the man who is our taxi around the circuit. Adam Gore, such a successful weekend in Mark 1s, 2 out of 2 for him, but he's lost the toe with Sheard and Herbert. We go back on board with Luke Herbert, pitching the car through that fast right-hand turn. The back end wanted to step out, getting a side wind there as well, and that's not helping. Oh, and Lloyd runs a little bit wide and is followed along by Stephen Andrew, who then outbrakes himself. Beautiful looking car that from Stephen Andrew. It's a carbon black, it's not a shiny black, and it really looks great. Through Peel, Sheard, then Herbert, over the brow of the hill, dropping down towards Siemens. Pick your braking point carefully because it's so easy to run on there. The car's being helped down the hill. And there is Aaron Lloyd again, trying to shake the advances of Stephen Andrew. Just ahead of them, David Chapman and Christopher Lloyd, stuck together like glue, like they were at Snetterton. Chapman turns in, he picks his apex nicely, the slightly battered Lloyd car following him on, the bumper flapping around, and in fact going to go a little bit defensive. There's our leader of the race, Chrissy Palmer. Haven't seen much of him because he's really not had much to do in this race other than keep it on the island, keep it smooth and not make much mistakes. Such a great gap from Chrissy Palmer. Doing a really good job, a massive four-wheel drift from the machine. We switch our attention back to Lord and Chapman. They go through the banking. Chapman 7th. Lord in 8th position at the moment. And then behind them, we haven't seen much of him, but Robert Way in the 96 car is in 9th spot. Chrissy Palmer, though, through Siemens and over the brow of the hill towards Ireland for the final time, towards the hairpin on the international circuit. Takes full racing line and a little bit more. Very late apex. It's the sort of thing you're allowed to do when you're on your own, but certainly not when you're racing. Chrissy Palmer heads towards the start and finishing line where the checkered flag awaits, and it's victory in race 1 here. Yet another one for Chrissy Palmer, and he extends that championship lead over his teammate Paul Sheard in 2nd position. Luke Herbert ending up in 3rd position after dropping back, with Adam Gore, Matthew Davis in 5th, and Jordan Stilp dropping to 6th after problems.
I mean, after testing on Friday, I think we were like 8 tenths off the pace, so, you know, to even come in the top 3 and actually be on the pace, you know, I was happy with that. So, but yeah, Paul defended it well. There's no way I could get past, and last couple of laps I thought I'd rather hold 3rd than try and ditch it off, because that's what I need points for the championship. So sort of backed off a little bit, but yeah, I'm pleased with 3rd, especially after testing.
I got a good start, got some places, stole some places from Adam and Luke by, you know, chance really, and I knew they were on me, and it's hard to get your momentum and get a rhythm and get on the pace when they're so close. So yeah, defended for a while, and I think Luke just got bored in the end, so he tried to outbrake me. He got the run on me through church every time, slipstream, better driving, don't know, but I was better under the brakes, and I just knew my good points and my bad points and protected the bad ones and played on the good ones, and towards the end I think we broke him and made a bit of distance, so fantastic result for us.
We couldn't get it any better, to be honest. It's been a brilliant weekend so far. Qualifying was brilliant, put it on pole. Unfortunately, a few of them had their laps taken away, so Paul didn't start where he should have and Luke didn't, but these things happen. But no, it's been a brilliant weekend, and hopefully it can carry on like it is.
Join us after the break when we have more action from the Mark 3s here at Anglesey. Welcome back to Anglesey here in Wales for the 2nd race of the weekend for the Mark 3 Cup.
And here is the grid. It's the result of race 1. So Palmer ahead of Sheard, Herbert and Gore, then Matthew Davis, and watch out for Jordan Stilp. Starting in 6th position after gearbox problems in race 1. He'll be looking to push in this 2nd race of the weekend. 2 white cars on the front row of the grid. It's Chrissy Palmer on the right, Paul Sheard on the left, and off we go. Luke Herbert and Adam Gore on row 2, and Adam Gore looking to defend on the inside line. There is Stilp goes to the outside, but taking the whole shot is Chrissy Palmer, and Paul Sheard's made a dreadful start. I think he's dropped down to 4th position. We go on board with Aaron Lloyd, the 78 machine at the back of the field. Ahead of him is Robert Way. But the battle, is that the battle for 3rd position? I think it may well be. Paul Sheard having to go massively defensive. He's got Adam Gore and Jordan Stilp behind him, and Matthew Davis in the 91 car, that grey machine. Sheard running a little bit wide now, decides to go defensive again. All of this is compromising the speed of this group and allowing the front 2 to already run away with things. Chrissy Palmer and Luke Herbert, it is 1-2. Adam Gore looks to the inside of Paul Sheard for 3rd position and makes the position stick. Now he needs to run a little bit wide to defend through Rocket. He's got the racing line, and he will have the inside line. But Sheard runs far too deep into the turn. That gives him the inside line for Rocket. Now Gore has to concentrate on getting a good run out of Rocket and get down the inside, but Sheard protects the inside line, so he stays in 3rd position. It's backing everyone up behind him. Now Gore switches again to the wrong side. It's going to be the outside for Siemens, almost inviting Jordan Stilp up the inside. They finally all find the racing line and look for another slipstream. It's so important here with the wind. You can see the sea in the background, really choppy today. Palmer, then Herbert. Sheard defends, Gore runs wide, and is that going to allow Stilp up the inside? Yes, it does. Easy peasy, but Gore's now got the speed to stay on the inside line for the 1st turn. It's a weird off-camber 1st turn. Doesn't feels like a cut through, which it is. Big lunge there from the 91 car of Matthew Davis to get ahead of Jordan Stilp. Be right on board with Jordan in the position of a 3-year-old if he was sitting alongside Jordan in the Ma5da MX5 Cup. We're a bit low there, aren't we, to see what's really going on. So Davis now up into 5th spot, ahead of Stilp, and then it's Chapman, and then Lord. There is Chapman. In fact, between Chapman and Lord is the 8th car of Simon Goddard. Paul Sheard running a little bit wide and Goddard further back, trying to attack his teammate. We go on board with Jordan Stilp again, and Matthew Davis is to our left as we go up the hill. Sort of gives you quite a good impression of how little you can see of the apex there, and Stilp managed to go right round the outside and into 5th. Davis down one then and being pushed into the clutches of the 19 machine that's behind him, David Chapman. Ooh, a little bit of a slide from Davis as he tries to get too much power through those Kumo tyres, and the back end just steps out fractionally. Oh no, and Chapman running wide as well. That's going to allow Goddard to have another sniff. Again, Goddard on the racing line, but it's the outside line, and Chapman is going to defend. Surely Goddard can't go all the way around the outside. He's going to give it a shot, runs across the curb, and it's now the inside line for the first turn. That was a brave move from Simon Goddard. They're from the same camp, I believe. No, sorry, that's the 8 car. The 8 car's the Rob Boston run machine. Boston and Sheard, arch rivals in last year's championship. Boston is now racing in the Lotus Cup, but running a team of 4 Mark 3s. And I think that 8 car is the car that he won the championship in last year. It's definitely a fast car, but Simon Goddard's still learning the ropes of this Ma5da Mark 3 championship. And look at that, Chapman now into the clutches of Lord. Exactly the same as what we saw from race 1 of the weekend. Oh, a big old slide from Luke Herbert there. And both gesticulating to each other. It was Paul Sheard behind. Difficult to see exactly what happened between those two. Sheard runs a little bit wide, but obviously Herbert has been caught by Paul Sheard. And maybe there was contact between the two of them. Difficult to know, but either way, Luke arrived completely sideways. Oh, and he's got a problem as well. Was that a gear selection problem, or is the car actually slowing down because he allowed Sheard past, and also Adam Gore, and even Jordan still trying to find a way past. Jordan was super surprising at Silverstone. Took a win at Snetterton, and this weekend has really not been going his way. He had gearbox problems in race 1. Half a second even in qualifying behind Chrissy Palmer, who had never raced here before he came the weekend. Formula 4 Championship that he raced in previously never brought him here, and a retirement of Enon Price, the 55 car, had problems in race 1. It looks like he's got problems in race 2, which again is a shame because he was such a star in the wet conditions at Snetterton. So still certainly struggling with the car. Now Luke Herbert is behind Adam Gore, but Gore makes a bit of a mess of that left-hander, and oh, great opportune move from Luke Herbert. Saw the opportunity open up to him as soon as Gore got sideways. He dived up the inside through Rocket, and that's a lovely little pass. And look, Stilp's now there. As we look at Jamie Ingram and Raymond Worley at the back of the field, duking it out. Worley going defensive, and the 15 car of Jamie Ingram trying to go around the outside. Now, can Stilp find a way past Gore? They're both running in the same team, the Rob Boston team. Gore, much more experience in the Mazdas than than Jordan Stilp. Stilp raced in the Mark 1 Championship last year, having been a superstar in karting. And Lord dives down the inside of Chapman, who opens the door for him and invites him through, and then runs a little bit wide as well. Now goes a little bit defensive. Chris Lord then. Once again, the battle for the outskirts of the top 10. And no way past that time for Chapman to recover that position. Now remember, where you finish in the outskirts of the top 10 may well give you pole position, because, like touring cars, there's a draw by the winner of the race. He will draw a position as to where he will start, and then the grid will be reversed. So may well see one of these two starting on pole position for the 3rd race of the weekend. Now that will be entertaining. Lord goes defensive. Chapman takes the racing line. It's going to give him more speed through this right-hander. And now through the kink at school. And if Chapman can find a space, and then should dive up the inside. It's difficult to know where to go here. Lord goes defensive, Chapman goes to the racing line, but if he can stick it around the outside, he has the inside line for Rocket, you see. Now that sort of can work. However, they both slightly mess the left-hander up, and it's status quo. Back to the battle for second position. Herbert defending. We go on board with Jordan Stilp, who is the third of those three cars. All blue, slightly different characteristics with them. And there is Raymond Worley and Jamie Ingram at the back of the field. I think it's the 13th, that battle. And then ahead of them is Chris Lord, Chapman and Robert Way, who we haven't seen too much of in that sort of purpley blue machine, having a solid run in 10th position at the moment. And between those two is Aaron Lloyd and Stephen Andrew, again reigniting that battle they had further on. And hey, Raymond finding the inside line there past Jamie Ingram. Whether that was completed, I'm not entirely sure. Gore turns his way through the fast right-hander at the back of the circuit. Look at the beautiful settings. You've got mountains at the back there, and then you've got the Irish Sea as well. Just a mega place to come racing, even though it is super windy and trying to blow us all over. So Worley behind Ingram again. They are changing position, all sorts of... So you see, you look from the front to the back, and there's absolutely mega battles all the way through this Mark III race. It's really entertaining to watch. And a little mistake there from Ingram has allowed Worley to get back up close to him. We turn our attention back to the top 6, where Jordan Stilp is desperately trying to find a way past Adam Gore, and then just behind him, oh no, Chris Lloyd running onto the grass. It's luckily quite dry, and therefore he manages to rectify the car without having a bigger accident through Siemens. But now he may have to defend from Robert Way, who is in the slipstream, and Chris Lord, goes defensive. Way goes to the racing line into the hairpin. Can he go through around the outside? No, but he takes a nice sweeping line to give him more of a slingshot out of the hairpin, back into the slipstream. Now, Chris Lord goes defensive again. Turn 1, of course, is left, and that's the last lap board. So, Chrissy Palmer, again, we've not seen much of his all-white car, but it's going to be another commanding victory. Had coming into the weekend 3 victories so far, as Raymond Worley's gone round. They've had an entertaining battle at the back there. Yeah, Chris has had coming into the weekend 3 wins, 4th this morning, and it's looking like his 5th win out of 3 meetings. Not a bad record at all when we're on the 8th race of the year. So Robert Way still trying to find a way past Chris Lloyd. Obviously Chris Lord did a good enough defending. Oh, I'm thinking Lord. Robert Way goes to the racing line. Lord goes defensive. Chrissy Palmer turns his way through Siemens. Run by Paul Sheard. The car owned by Chrissy and his father Chrissy. And we're just having a look to see what's going to happen further back. Doesn't look like anything's going to change there. It's going to be Paul Sheard who's going to pick up second position after being on his own for much of the race. It's been a solid drive this weekend from Sheardy. Obviously, they found something really good within the car, and it's Chrissy Palmer from Paul Sheard and Luke Herbert who takes 3rd position once again. Adam Gore 4th, Jordan Stilp making up 1 position with his starting in 5th, and Matthew Davis 6th. Then it was a 5-second gap to Goddard, Chapman, Lord and Robert Way rounding out the top 10.
Still got problems with our rear brakes. I'm locking up into all the tight braking point, all the tight corners of heavy braking points. And so I'm struggling to change down a gear, and I'm also getting drifting the car. So 3rd race, I think we're going to have it sorted for the 3rd race. And if it was all right in that race, I think I'd have stuck with Chris. But yeah, I had a little bit of contact with Paul with me up the back into one of the corners, but it wasn't intentional, so it's just one of those things. I didn't lose a place, so So yeah, I think the third race we could be on for well, I've got to move up one position. I'm fed up of third now.
Luke and I had a really good tussle. My car went away the early stages of the race, hadn't got the grip, and I got the wrong side of Adam and Luke. But I fought back, was catching Luke, got a really good draft out of him up to the top, into the top left-hander, and I thought he'd left me a gap on the inside, and he hadn't, and I was a bit naughty. I ran in the back of him. It was unintentional. He's good as gold with it, as always, with Luke, but I think it put him off his stride and gave me the opportunity to get by. And then he was a bit mirrors full of Adam and Jordan. So, yeah, another good result, 1-2 for the team. Fantastic.
Chrissy, it looked like another easy race for you.
Oh, races are never easy, but yeah, it was a brilliant race. The track was much harder than it was in the last race. It's got so slippery out there. I was locking up quite a lot, but I mean, everyone was, so it was just a hard race to win, and it was brilliant, really.
Why is that? Is that because of the wind and it's just got a lot colder out there?
I don't think the wind's helping, obviously, because you're getting a draft down the straight. So obviously, where I didn't have anyone in front of me to slipstream, I was losing a bit of speed down the straight. But I'm not sure. I think it's just got a bit colder, to be honest, and it's just made the track a bit harder to drive.
Well, Chrissy, before you disappear, I need you to delve deep and have a good old rummage in the sack of balls I've got here.
Better not look, really.
No, don't look, don't look.
What do you reckon I'm going to get? What do you reckon?
Oh, what number is it? Number 8. 8. So, well done, Chrissy.
There you go.
Back in there. Thank you very much.
Well, could have been better.
It could have been better. Well, we've just found out that Chrissy is going to start 8th on the grid for the final. So join us after the break. Welcome back to Anglesey for the final race of the weekend from the MK3 Cup. David Chapman is starting on pole because of the reverse grid system, a place he's never been before. So I'm going to pass you straight over to Ben to talk you through the rest of the grid.
Thanks very much. Yes, reverse top 8 then, thanks to Chrissy's draw. And it's David Chapman, Simon Goddard, Matthew Davis, all with great opportunities. Jordan Stilt will be happy to be in 4th. Gore, Herbert, Paul Sheard, Chrissy Palmer down in 8th. And then Chris Lord, who's had his battling with David Chapman in 9th spot. Green flag at the back of the field. It's the final race of the weekend here at Anglesey. And it's been a long old day for the MK3s. Let's see how these two at the front cope with a front row starting position. On the right of your screen is David Chapman, and the ambulance was going before the rest of the field. It's not been a good start from Chapman at all, but Goddard's had a good start. Matthew Davis looking up the inside, and Jordan Stilt's going to make it 3 wide, and Stilt was strong to go around the outside there, and poor old Matthew Davis got a bit of a clunk from one of the Paul Sheard machines. Whether it was Paul Sheard himself, it's difficult to know. Plenty of work going on the steering wheel from Chrissy Palmer there. And now down the inside of Matthew Davis to take that position. So Davis was really the man who lost out a lot. It looked like he was going to be doing so well. He had a great start, but then the door was almost shut on him by David Chapman. And Chapman's fallen way down already into the position which he's more accustomed to, sort of outside of top 10. So disappointing there that Chapman couldn't fight it a bit harder, but Jordan still disappeared on his own. Goddard gets passed by Gore. So Gore up to 2nd position to chase down Stilt. And that's Luke Herbert going up the inside of Goddard as well. There's 4 blue cars at the front of the field. Then Chrissy Palmer in 5th position from 8th starting. So not quite as good, but you expected to see Jordan Stilt get out front. Oh, and Stilt's made a mistake. They're saying the wind is really causing real difficulties with the where to brake. Palmer looks down the inside of Goddard through Siemens. It's a fast place to overtake, but Goddard is good as gold and gives him just a little bit of room. So Palmer could find a way through. His mirrors moved at the same time, so it gives that a bit of an adjust. And look at that. That is what the wind is doing. Jordan Stilt has been caught up already by Gore, and Herbert goes up the inside, but runs wide, side by side once again. And all of a sudden they were supposed to be attacking Jordan Stilt, and look who's behind. Here comes Chrissy Palmer, the man of the weekend. 2 out of 2 so far, pole position by half a second. Chrissy Palmer loses his braking. Oh wow, how did he do that? He braked so late, the car got sideways, and he still managed to wangle his way past Adam Gore. Was that a think sign to Gore? Surely that's Palmer to sort himself out with going into turn 1. He was way too late on the brakes. Working that car hugely hard. You can see the back end of the car trying to get out away from him. And with all this banking, one of the difficulties with these Mazdas is the inside wheel is spinning up when they're trying to drive out of the turns, but it sounded like Chrissy Palmer's got his car pretty much sorted to cope with that situation. He's up to third position. He's sitting behind Luke Herbert now. Meanwhile, Jordan Stilp is running away with it. Race victory in Snetterton. His second ever race weekend in a Mark III. And looking good at the moment for a victory here as well. Side by side further back with Robert Way and Chris Lord going through the screen there I just saw. Palmer's looking up the inside, late on the brakes at Peel. Wow! Up the inside he goes. He's going to be on the wrong side for Siemens, and surely Luke Herbert's going to punish him for that. No, you can't go around the outside. You surely can't go around the outside. Chrissy Palmer, oh, what a move through Siemens. How did he manage that? He is driving absolutely fantastically in this race. Apart from that, obviously, that little miscommunication down at the first corner. But Luke Herbert's been hung out to dry. Gore sighs his way through. Herbert down to fourth. Sheardy's been left out of this one. He's in fifth position at the moment on his own. Goddard sixth. Davis in seventh position. But it's Stilp that leads. Turns his way through turn one. Or the turn one, because it's not called turn one. The next one's called turn one, confusingly. Stilp, Palmer. And then this little battle with Gore, who goes super defensive on Herbert. Herbert looks to get the slingshot out the turn. He's gone high on the banking to then pull his way through. You can see it spits you out on the exit. Gore just gets a little bit of a wheel onto the dirt and dust and shouldn't compromise him too much, but Herbert is definitely in a slipstream, a big old slide as well. Now heading towards School, there's attention at the front as well because Palmer is in a slipstream of Jordan Stilp, and it's going to be all change, I think, as they head towards Rocket. Stilp's going defensive, as is Gore, but Gore loses the rear end. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Oh, has he held onto it? He has held onto it. He's made it point in the right direction, but an easy pass from Luke Herbert, and I think Paul Sheard will take advantage of that as well. Sheard up the inside towards Peel. Surely he's got the space to go through. Yes, he does. Let brakes just a fraction later and takes the position, runs wide, and Matthew Davis sniffs an opportunity, as well as Simon Goddard. They're still there, side by side for the lead of the race, and Chrissy Palmer's done it again. Gone round the outside at Siemens. How? He's got so much confidence in that car. Remember, he is a Formula Ford Festival champion, and on that trophy he shares his name with all sorts of greats from Formula One and beyond. Chrissy is an absolutely epic driver, and do not ever underestimate the quality of this field. It might be a little bit smaller than usual due to the fact that we are in the middle of nowhere, as far north as you possibly can go in Wales. But the field will expand once we start racing closer to home for most of the drivers, no doubt. Cadwell Park, the next one coming up. Quite a good northern contingent should turn up there. But the quality is definitely still there. Jordan Stilp, a multiple champion in karting, then focused straight on the Mazdas when he moved into cars. Chrissy Palmer, a Formula Ford Festival winner. Luke Herbert, a multiple karting champion as well. As we look at Matthew Davis and Simon Goddard going side by side around the back of the circuit. Goddard really strong to hold on to the outside there. Here comes Chapman, the man who started on pole position, and he's going to find his way past Matthew Davis because he's got more momentum. He's got a good slipstream as well, and he's going to do two cars in two corners. He may well. He's got the inside line for Rocket. Here he goes. Here comes Chapman. Brakes later. He's got that move done. They go three wide through Rocket, the second part at the right hand of the hairpin. And I think Matthew Davis might sniff an opportunity here because Simon Goddard's been muscled onto the dirt. And through the inside goes Matthew Davis. Chapman is still there ahead of them both, though. They're running extremely wide now through that turn. I think the wind's almost pushing them a little bit wide. Gore trying to chase down Paul Sheard just ahead. And it's hotting up at the front of the field as well. Chrissy Palmer, Jordan Stilp and Luke Herbert, the big three from the Mark III Championship this year. Chapman, Davis and Goddard fighting for the, well, that must be 6th position, I'm guessing. Further ahead, Sheard on the defensive. And holds off Gore for another turn. But it's going to get super hectic, no doubt. Great little battle all the way through the field, and I think the wind is really helping, but the Mazda is putting on a fantastic display. You can still see the cars and the various fans around the circuit still watching, still here to the bitter end because of the entertainment that these guys are providing. Davis, Chapman, Goddard, and now Christopher Lord is involved in this little battle as well. All you need to do, make sure you get tidy through that right-hander, and then you're in the slipstream and you can make a move towards Rocket. And once again, Davis now on the left-hand side, but so much speed from that Paul Sheard car that he just breezes straight past. And Chapman back ahead of Davis for another time, but runs, desperately wide at Rocket. He's disappeared off our screen, and 2 positions lost then as Goddard snaps up that position as well. Great entertainment, loving this. Further back, Raymond Worley. Ooh. Well, now he hasn't got any grip on the rear end of his car, has he? Fighting at the back of the field, but on the throttle, the whole car swaps ends. Right, Adam Gore and Paul Sheard battle side by side, slipstream taken. Gore side by side, can he make the move stick through school? And that is how powerful the slipstream is, although Sheard just about has a nose in there, but no point really because the circuit turns right and there's no way past going through that right-hander. So Sheard's going to have to sit and just basically bide his time until they get down to the banking again, where he can sit in the slipstream and do exactly the same thing again. Right, this is the battle for the lead of the race. Palmer, Stilp and Herbert. No one can make a break. We saw Palmer make a break in race 1 and race 2 of the weekend, but as the wind has got up, it's making it even harder to get away. The slipstream even more powerful. And remember, Chrissy started in 8th position, so those first 4 laps have been really strong from the man down south. Doesn't live in Chichester like Luke Herbert, but it's pretty close to Chichester. Jordan Stilp with those luminous yellow wheels, making it easy to spot. Although for some reason they're only on the right side of the car, not the left. Towards the banking they come. Stilp's had 2 new gearboxes already in that car, so he's on his 3rd gearbox. He's had real problems, and that's where the speed has gone this weekend. Fantastic driver, but really struggling with car setup. And because of the nature of the circuit, not many people have actually been here in its present guise. The Mazda Championship were here a couple of years ago, but it was a different old layout when they came. And now Stilp in the lead of the race. Up the inside, defends the position, needs to run it a little bit deep to stop Herbert and Chrissy Palmer from finding a way through. He does, but he opens a door, and Palmer is never going to say no to a door opening like that. But it's side by side, and surely Luke Herbert's going to have a look down the inside as well. They make it 3 wide through Peel. Chrissy Palmer runs a little bit wide. Herbert now goes up the inside, and he's going to be on the outside for Siemens, so it's going to change again. Surely Palmer takes the lead of the race, but Stilp takes the racing line. No, he doesn't. He dives up the inside of Herbert, who runs a little bit wide. And, 3 different leaders in 3 corners. Fantastic stuff. Right, now Chrissy Palmer is on the inside line for the hairpin, and Herbert dives down the inside to take the position from Stilp. So Stilp down to 3rd now, Herbert to 2nd. Now can he get a slipstream? The best slipstream will be coming from the man at the back. Oh, they all fan out. No slipstream being taken here because Herbert's on the defensive. Stilp takes the racing line. Oh, you don't want to defend. As soon as you start defending, you're compromising your speed out the turn and you're letting the other person get away, and that's exactly what's happened. Chrissy Palmer has just got a little bit of breathing space as he turns towards the banking for another time. As you can see, those 2 blue cars that were so close just a moment ago are nowhere to be seen. There's Herbert, there's Stilp. Now, what will happen through here? The gap was, I'd say, 3 or 4 car lengths. Squeals his way through that right-hander. Herbert's a bit more direct, the car almost sitting up at the middle part of the turn. He didn't have the slide on, and therefore I think he's compromised his speed. No one's going to catch Chrissy Palmer for the moment. Looks like Palmer's safe. What about Stilp on Herbert? No, not this time. Not through the left-hander anyway. But look how much they've gained. As I said, it was 4 car lengths going through the banking, and now less than a car length, if that, between those 3. That is just purely the slipstream. It's not any problem with Chrissy Palmer's car. Certainly, it's fair to say that Luke Herbert's got his car sorted after really struggling all weekend with the rear end. It looks much better now. It looks more progressive. It looks like it's sliding around how he should do. And I think now Herbert surely is going to have a go up the inside. He sits in the slipstream, under braking, and now dives down the inside. Chrissy Palmer just losing the rear end there, I think, into the braking of the hairpin. Now they go side by side again. Stilp needs to get into this little party. He needs to get involved. The checker flag is there. Oh, Chrissy Palmer and Luke Herbert over the start and finishing line. Who's taken the victory? It looks like Luke Herbert's car went over the line first, but what matters is where the transponders are in the car. And Chrissy Palmer by 6 thousandths of a second takes it from Luke Herbert, and Stilp in third position. Gore, Sheard and Davis your top 6. And that was, I'm afraid, down to where the transponder is, not how fast they were out of that final turn. Let's hear from the winners.
It was a great race, really tough. We had 3 rests going through some corners. I was leading for a little while of the race, but then Luke caught up, overtook me in my slipstream. I can't really remember the end of the race. It was that hectic. But no, it's a better race than this morning, because we've had a lot of problems this weekend. So yeah, it's been all right. It's been quite a good weekend.
What can I do to beat Chris? It's just every race we got the car right that time, and this time we actually managed to be with Chris. And on the last lap of the last corner, outbrake him at the last minute, and then he gets the cutback on me, and we were across the line side by side. And you know, we had to wait 10-15 minutes for the result because no one knew, and it was 6 thousandths of a second. So you know, I'm pleased that we were able to keep with Chris that one, but at the same time deflated because I sort of thought I won it.
Chrissy, 3 races and 3 wins. You had to work for that one though.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing race. Luke drove well, really well. Almost had me on the last corner, but we went across the line side by side. It was absolutely amazing.
You didn't run away with that one. Why is that?
We had a little bit of contact start of the race on the first couple of laps. Don't know what I did to the car, but I did something. It's never a good thing, really. But no, it was an amazing race. Couldn't have asked for any more from the team and my dad. It was a great weekend, and the 3 wins tops it all off.
6 wins then out of 9 races for Chrissy Palmer. 9.03 his points, a substantial margin over Luke Herbert, and Jordan Stilp in third. A good weekend pulls Sheard up into contention in 4th, with Adam Gore 5th and Chris Lord in 6th.
Well, what an exciting race to finish this fantastic weekend here in Anglesey. The Mazda Circus moves on to Cadwell Park for its next round, but remember, you can catch me and the team on Motors TV next week.